Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Parish Council meeting, the last of the season before our break. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Yes, I have two, Councillor Jones and also from District Councillor Rose, but I do have an email report.
Okay, lovely. Number two, are there any declarations of interest on any items that we have on our agenda? Thank you very much. Item 3 then, we'll take the minutes of the previous meeting. You've all received a copy of the minutes of the meeting, ably chaired by my deputy, on the 14th of June. We will be going through these at item 4, but could I just for the moment please have a proposer for that? Pauline, seconder? And that's Tina. And all in favour? Thank you very much. Now, we do have in our presence this evening Councillor Nigel Collar. And Nigel Collar is a very busy man. He has another meeting to attend, and so with your agreement I would like to bring forward Councillor Collar's offerings at this stage up from 5B. So Councillor Collar.
No, you're fine there.
Right, I'll stand at the corner.
A lot of that when I was at school. Right, good evening everybody. Thanks for rearranging the agenda. There are 6 things which I want to enlighten you on this evening. KCC have been going through a budget principle that every year local authority has to by law produce a balanced budget, as you probably know. And this year KCC had to save £62 million a year. So you can imagine there were some pretty tough decisions and pretty unpopular ones made at times. Anyway, but we are where we are, and it gives us time to get some of the consultations out of the way and look at things from that angle. First I'll start with congestion. Port of Dover have told us that this weekend, next weekend and possibly the weekend after, tourist traffic bookings are up the wall. It was always busy at the end of July, as Nick knows as well as I do. But they've said with the airlines business and the trains being a bit iffy at the moment, leave it at that, there's a lot more people looking to go with their cars. As you've probably seen on the news, Operation Brock is already, but that purely deals with freight vehicles. They have no similar authority, Kent Police has no similar authority to deal with tourist traffic and hold that anywhere. So that just piles up as the port can clear it. So, I don't know about you, but I'm getting stocked up tomorrow. For those of you who know where I live, it's I can't get my car ready if I wanted to.
I'm going to pump my bike up again. Yeah.
Anyway, so beware the congestion that's coming. So it's got to be all tourist traffic. And so we'll be looking to the Kent Resilience Forum if necessary to provide water, etc. As a new chairman of that, Simon Jones used to work very closely with Simon because he was the one that was with Highways England that brought me up Dover Tap. So I worked very closely with Simon over a number of years. So he shouldn't have given me his personal phone number. Staying with roads, you probably noticed a bit of resurfacing been going on. It's a nuisance what is being done, I know that. But let's get it done. And if KCC want to spend the money around here, let them spend it.
Yeah.
They'll soon spend it somewhere else in Kent if we get a bit into it.
The only thing that I would comment on, Nigel, is that the people that were doing the work along past our house, they were rather surprised and or disbelief that when I pointed out to them that the week before, somebody from KCC Highways had actually remarked both of the bus stop signs along at the terminus in brand new yellow that was going to be covered up and then had to be redone again. But,
Of course, left hands and right hands, don't we?
exactly.
Yeah.
That is stupid.
Anyway, there's been resurfacing, as you may know,
Yeah.
travels done all over the area, and there's a bit more to come, but I won't go into that because I'm a bit here. And
Okay.
there will be a ball going up 7 days before, so it's saying that the road's going to be done. Staying with transport issues, buses. County Council do not run buses. Lots of people think they do, but they don't. What they do is subsidise certain services. Now, come back to the budget for a second. In saving such a colossal amount, obviously something had to give. It's a non-statutory requirement to support bus services, and there was £2 million had to be reduced on that. It was 6 million, it's now down to 4. Not very nice, and of course a lot of people, particularly in West Kent, are really going to suffer. But obviously there are statutory duties to get certain children to school, but that's something so broad it's probably not something that you want to get involved in unless you've got young children involved. And each case is judged on its merit. It's the ones that have his subsidy removed, as we're concerned here, is the 61 and 61A evening service after 1818 from Whitfield. Not the daytime service, that's not affected at all, that's weekdays. The 61 and 61A and 90, which is the Aycliffe Dover Town Centre from Whitfield. Sunday evening service, bus service would be at 1828 from Whitfield. Again, the rest of the service, before this time and other days of the week is not covered by the contract. No, it's a matter of interest. You might say, why are the services? The latter, the 60, 61 and 61A was costing £5.62 per passenger journey to support, and the 90, 61 and 61A was costing £3.72. I'm sure you appreciate the majority of council taxpayers would not like to support buses running around carrying fresh air, which is what they were doing to some extent. A friend of mine lives at Aycliffe, and he sometimes comes down to the town in the evenings, goes back on the bus, and he said, it's usually the only one on it. And he speaks to the driver, and the driver said, you're the only one that ever catches it. And so, there's that, where's my list gone? There it is. Fast track, talk slang with buses, fast track. The fast bus service between Whitfield and the Parish Station. I'm going slow because Ollie's writing this down. That's progressing well. If you've been up to Whitfield, you've seen the road, the work's going on.
Yeah.
We're keeping the Whitfield Parish Council and indeed Guston Parish Council fully advised. And they're looking at ways in the future where it can be added to. That's way in the future though. But ideally we put in some bus lanes and everywhere, but I'm sure you agree that these road ranges don't link to bus lanes. They did try it, didn't they?
Yes, yes. Cool. Memorable.
Yeah, staying more up Whitfield than here. Something's been going on for over 30 years to my knowledge. The joining of the A2 between Lyndon and Dover. Wow. Early days, but there are moves ahead.
Natalie's on the case.
Yeah, they haven't got any plans yet.
that right?
Yeah, there's nothing.
It's an old building.
Doesn't work, the air conditioning.
Haven't worked for years, has it, Paul?
No.
And, so we're being cautious on that. I do flick to Clive and Andrew the
Yes.
press release
Yes.
I'll get, and I'll continue to do that. But obviously, we don't want to see another epidemic.
No, no.
Epidemic around here.
No.
So please be a bit careful. And, right, let's go.
Well, thank you, Councillor Collar. Has anybody any questions that they'd like to raise with Councillor Collar? Well, we're very grateful to you for sharing your evening with us.
Obviously, I'll keep any press releases and that get coming to you two, like I always do.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you want to send around our press releases, so
Thank you very much indeed.
confidential.
Yeah.
Right.
We're very grateful. Have time for a cup of coffee.
Healthy, plenty of fluids.
Gin and tonic. Oh, water.
Sorry, I can't stay any longer, but
Thank you very much, Nigel.
group up at Whitfield will be.
We're very grateful.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good break.
Thank you. Will do.
Thanks.
Right. We'll now then resume on item 4, which is going through the minutes of the last meeting. I've got 1 or 2 notes here. But if we can turn to page 1 first of all. Has anybody got anything on page 1 that they would like to raise?
Nothing.
Right, page 2. I notice we haven't got a specific item for recreation ground on the agenda tonight, Nick. So I wonder if you'd like to bring us up to date, if
Yes.
necessary, on C
Yes.
6 and 7.
Yes, I was seeing. Yes. Yep. Yep. Let's have a look. C6 and 7 is.
Rangers. The sporting event.
Rangers and sporting event,
Sorry, which
And
page
a
is
C.
it?
You
And a
reported.
C, and then...
Sorry, which page? Which number are we on?
We're on page 2, towards the bottom.
Sorry.
You reported it
And
to
a
the...
C, and then...
Item 6 and 7.
That's right, it's due to
Parish
be held.
councillors, and then...
It's C6. It's that one.
I
C6.
don't know, I seem to be missing.
Ah.
Sorry, that could be explained like, yes, sorry. Right.
Staple.
C6 and 7, right.
Yeah.
So we've got C6, which we obviously had a point raised with regard to water levels, which I believe we will have some update from you
We will
later
have
on.
a work in
Yes.
progress. on
Yes,
that, yes.
lovely.
Yeah.
Do you want that? Do you want to be brought up to speed on that now or not? Or
It was really 6 and 7 that to do with the recreation ground and the Dover Rangers.
right, right. Andrew and I had a meeting with Stephen Mart.
Mark, yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Mart, who's now chairman of Rangers Football Club. They had approached Andrew by email saying that they were possibly interested in coming back into the recreation ground. It's moved on fairly quickly since then. We had a word. They are struggling at the Christchurch Academy. There aren't the pitches that they thought would be available or made available to them. They're using the AstroTurf in a limited amount, but they're having to go to the Downs, to the Danes and to Elmsvale to hire pitches. So it's obviously very disjointed, causing them a problem. And they've come back and said, look, we'd like to play in the rec again. That would be using what was the old senior pitch, it would be using the junior pitch, and it would be using the area adjacent to the new play area. Obviously only on certain nights or at weekends, so it would be as they did it before. They are speaking to Sport England, they're speaking to Dover District Council, and one other source of raising finance, because they need to invest in some new goals and equipment. They want in total about £10,000. The discussions with them have been on the basis that we would love to have them back, but we can't afford for the village to be paying for football, and they've said no, they're perfectly happy. Andrew's given them the details of GW, our contractors for the rec. They will speak to them and they will arrange the additional cuts on that,
And
or on those areas, and lining, or they will do the lining themselves, yes. But they will organise the cuts and the lining. And they have said, because I said, look, if you did that, in all honesty, you answer a lot of questions that are being chucked at the Parish Council. It means then suddenly football is back in the rec in a big way. They're running about 20 plus teams now. Suddenly snowballed, which is good. They don't want a clubhouse, and they definitely cannot use changing rooms. So that's got rid of the argument that we've got a changing room we want to change use of, but Sport England are saying, but you might get you may get senior football there. If Rangers come, then we've got no room for anyone. And I would say, I'm not a betting man, but it's certainly 80% that Rangers will join us. And I said to him, look, we're not looking to make money. And he said, no, but what we would like to do is to give you a contribution each year. We donate something to the Parish Council, and then you can use that where else. But he knows that there definitely can be no cost to the Parish Council, and he did say that would I, at this meeting, and that's why I'm obviously going to bring it up, would we be prepared to assist them in raising the money they need for their goals and equipment. They're talking about £10,000, fairly certain, and forgive me if I'm talking wrong, they're talking to DDC
yeah,
already.
they've probably gone for the community fund.
Yes, and I would like, at this stage in time it's too early, but I feel that yes, if we could get them back in the rec, it answers so many problems currently outstanding, it would be good. But basically, we're waiting for Rangers to come back to us at this stage.
Well, I think that's very, very good news indeed. Rangers, for the benefit of one or two of you that weren't with us at the time, Rangers have traditionally played at the recreation ground for many, many years, and we were rather surprised and taken aback when they spoke to us about leaving. They had an offer made to them for the use of an all-weather pitch up at Archers Court School, or
Christchurch
Academy now it's called, that they felt that was too good to refuse, and so we parted company with Rangers on good terms, and quite clearly now things haven't worked out in quite the way that they'd hoped. So I think that I would say that we should minute the fact that we thank Nick for his discussions with them, and that we would welcome Rangers coming back to River Recreation Ground. Everybody happy with that?
Yes. It would mean that we have a real presence,
Yeah.
football presence back in.
That's
Yes.
right.
And I would stress Andrew was the one that started the discussion, so Andrew, big thanks to you for the work you did on that
Good
as well. But it's good, but as soon as we hear more, Andrew and I will get our heads together and then we'll put something out to all of you.
Yeah.
We won't necessarily wait for the next meeting,
No.
but it could be 2 months, you see, so,
Sure.
but it really is moving
Good.
quickly, very
Very
quickly.
good.
Brilliant.
The next one, Nick?
Sport England.
Sport England?
Yes, we had arranged a meeting with Sport England. I was working that day, we'd shuffle around. I rolled up in the rec and Andrew was there and said, "Did you get my message?" No. And the message was that about 30 minutes before the meeting, Sport England cancelled. They were coming from London for the meeting. They had COVID and one other problem, but anyway, and the long and short was that we didn't have that meeting, and we have actually, as of today, reconvened a meeting with them on the 19th, I think, Andrew,
Yes.
was it 19th? You were the last one to confirm, and basically Andrew, Pauline and I will be meeting with Sport England. We came clean with DDC with regard to the old clubhouse, and they are aware of the situation, and they said that yes, they understood that, and let's see how the discussions with Sport England go.
Okay.
But for me, what we will be saying to Sport England is, you know, we've now got football back in the rec. We don't need the changing rooms.
Just to be clear, will Dover District Council planning be involved?
Oh
in this?
yes. Sorry, it's organised by Alice Pitts. Yes, who I didn't realise was Alice Pitts until we were halfway through the first meeting. Yes,
Yes,
and they said
various
you,
Alice's.
you did really know, but I was obviously referring to Alice Pitts in the third party, if you like, and they said, "Did you realise that is Alice here?" So I couldn't alter what I'd said. So I said yes, but I thought I'd say it to her face. It wasn't anything nasty, but it was just saying that they'd misled us, things had, and they accepted that yes, things hadn't gone quite as they should have done.
Okay.
But
And
so
you'll keep us all...
yeah, absolutely. And the reason you're being kept out of it, is if things don't work out, we need to keep our powder dry, and we'll fire you at them at the end, right? Yeah, but
Thank you very
that's.
much.
But I think it's good. But doing it this way, then we the argument isn't finished if they put up an argument. But I can't see now, and when they see the changing rooms and the pipes ripped out and some basins ripped out, they're going to see that it's
Just to put a little bit more emphasis on this, the point is that we do have 2 planning applications which have been held up. They've been put to one side for the moment, and because of the concerns on the part of Sport England, if this meeting goes according to plan, as I'm sure that I speak for all of us when I say that I hope it does, hopefully this will mean that, and that's why I asked about Dover District Council planning at that meeting, that should clear the way for Dover District Council planning to actually approve those 2 planning applications, and we can move forward.
That's certainly, yes, and that was the
Yes,
meeting
I mean, they
certainly
agree.
confirmed that. They said
As
until
far as
Sport
they
England
don't
withdraw,
agree, it's finished.
then, you know, but they, yes, so they've put those on, well, put them on hold until after this meeting, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
well, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Anything else on page 2?
Yes, Councillor, or County Councillor Richardson, churchyard, grass.
It's done.
Yeah, looks so.
Yes, it's been cut.
Thank
Yes.
you very much.
Wonderful. That was your influence. Wonderful. You got someone off my back.
Did I
The
understand
chairman's
that?
back, yes.
Did I understand
Cutting has been a problem, as I said, sorry Chair, cutting has been a problem, but it also been done now, the cutting of all grass, because it's not growing anymore. So
Right.
they're now onto the hedgerows and the weeding.
Oh,
So all the, all the weeds on the road, in order to get cleared, someone goes
Yes.
and sprays it, that hasn't been happening because the grass has been happening. We're basically fine short of our ground maintenance team.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say that you were out there yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, bad enough.
Good, thank you for that.
Thank you very much for your efforts.
Thank you.
Okay, page 3.
Oh, sorry, can I just say, is there any update on the phone box?
We're expecting a report from Patrick on that, yes.
Yeah.
We're getting a minimal report, but I can give them an update whenever you wish.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll wait for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, page 3. Anything there that's not on the agenda to follow?
The yellow lines, 66-1. You say they're causing a problem, don't they? Mark on a page too far.
No, that's right, yeah.
First item.
Oh, 66 one.
Outside of Village Hall.
Yeah, they're parking on the opposite
They're
side,
awful
aren't they?
down there.
There's no yellow lines on the other side, is there?
Well,
I
I mean, we can't really,
don't
we
think
can't get
they'll
involved
do
in
it,
that.
no.
I mean, it does hinder the
Yes.
lorries delivering from time to time.
But it's the parking, there's just nowhere else for them to go.
No. Okay. Page 4. Item 69B, this has been completed and the lining has been done as well.
Yeah.
I would say that I've had 1 or 2 comments on the work. It's perfectly fine along here and up to Cowper Road, but from Cowper Road onwards towards the athletic ground.
Yeah.
But it always was. That's the trouble.
But you've
And
got
all
to
they've done,
level
they've
that out.
but they've put a 2-layer sort of
Yeah.
surface thing, skim on this, which is all this resurfacing is, and it's still bumpy.
Brilliant.
But short of actually Kent Highways being persuaded that it's going to be worth doing this, I mean, I think the only answer to getting rid of the bumps, which I thought for a long time was to do with tree roots, but I think it's more serious, more basic than that, would be to dig it all up and sort of redo it, but that's not going to happen. Anyway, apart from that, I was informed by somebody that the contractors had to arrange for 5 vehicles to be towed away or lifted away during the
Oh,
course of the
because
work.
people didn't expect it after it was
It was now
made.
No,
I
no,
know,
no,
because
no.
it
What I meant to
didn't
say
happen
is
the first time.
they put all the notice.
Knew it would happen again.
Yeah, but all the notices were put up,
Yeah, but they were put
and,
out before, so people were
and people.
quite trusting
I
this.
think people got rather flustered. They suddenly found themselves into that sort of wet type stuff on the road. They didn't know
Well, I
really how to
couldn't
get
get
out of
out.
it. Exactly, yeah.
The Ridgeway was completely cut off.
Mm.
They said, no, you can't go out, you can't cross Lucian Road. I said, well, you can't cut off and it's the entire Ridgeway.
Mm.
People need to go to work. And then they let us pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I heard a few complaints about vehicles, and somebody told me that the contractors had to move. I don't know how they moved them.
Someone's moved.
5
Pickup
vehicles.
trucks, yeah.
Well, there were 5 occasions when vehicles had to be moved, which I suppose, when you consider all the cars that were parked up and down,
Quite
it's
a
not too
level
bad.
road.
Yeah.
I just guess that's happened.
Mm.
People moved it the first time and nothing happened.
Mm.
And there was again a notice and
Wow.
people said, oh, we're going to wait if they really do it.
I don't think anybody could complain about not being advised in advance that the work is going to be done. Anyway, anything else on the last page, please?
No, not from
In
there.
the GCC final week, which I was worried about.
Okay, let's push on then. Thank you for that. Item 5, to receive reports. PCSO and policing.
I haven't got anything from the PCSO, but I do have a couple of items which have come in. These are sort of general, not necessarily related to the area. There are new police powers coming into force to crack down on unauthorised encampments, which I know has been a concern in the recreation ground in the past. Trespassers who set up camp illegally on other people's land or in local communities could face up to 3 months in prison from Tuesday 28th of June as a new criminal offence becomes law. So there's a great deal of detail about that. If anyone's interested, I can pass that around.
Have we had a problem with people camping in the wreck then, or?
Well, no, we were concerned, which is why we got the barrier across.
Yeah, I just want, I know that was obviously, no, I just, the
been-
way that sounded if we'd had a problem, so,
No.
yeah.
I don't know whether it's policing or whatever, but there's the DEFRA have announced plans. For example, up at the household waste recycling unit, you get charged if you take items such as
Certain commodities.
certain things. It's
Yes.
hardcore and that kind
Hardcore,
of
that
kind
kind
of
of
stuff.
stuff.
It's been
Yes.
a while, yeah.
There's been a concern that this is increasing fly tipping on a national basis, so DEFRA have announced plans to save money for households disposing of DIY waste, alongside new grant funding for councils to prevent fly tipping. Under new proposals, households would not be charged to get rid of waste, including plasterboards, bricks and bath units. So it is a new measure, consultation, plans, blah 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 blah. So at some point in the future that might come into.
Councillor Richardson, do you know anything about it?
Yeah, no, that's a KCC initiative.
Yeah.
So, because it's all the KCC run the household waste funds, and a lot of people were complaining about the hardcore, because it was quite easy for households to do it, but unfortunately householders weren't doing it. It was...
That's right. And Kent, if I remember correctly, Kent only came in on this because they found that people were coming across from Essex and
Yeah,
Surrey.
because we were allowed to do it. So
That's right.
you know, it's not, ours are quite small compared to some of the big boys.
Yeah.
And they were coming across to dump it there, basically.
Thank you.
And so that's why it stopped. But then there was a lot of complaints from householders. You know, you do have hardcore, you do have.
Sure. Thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
Right. Councillor Richardson.
Well, if you read Mark Rose's, then I can elaborate on anything you want to, or any questions you have for me. But that's probably the best way, I think.
Right.
Okay.
So look.
Because I am here with my KCC hat on. But if you want to elaborate, you know, on anything you want within the district, I can always advise.
Thank you very much.
Right, from Mark Rose, please do check out the new Kersney Parks website from the DDC digital team. Excellent updates on the facilities there. That is just kersneyparks.co.uk if you're looking for it. There is still ongoing research and discussion over the A2 roadworks and other pinch points in Kent, all backed and supported by Natalie Elphick. Recent email updates from the Department of Transport show that this is still ongoing. Crabble Hill has had a series of resident complaints over parking issues. Recently, the WLO lines were approved and repainted, which has improved the situation, but this is being monitored along with other areas in Dover, especially London Road car parking on pavements. Residents complained about local households still throwing out raw food and stored nappies in bin bags, leaving overnight for seagulls to scavenge, rip sacks and redistribute all over the streets every 2 weeks. This has been actioned by DDC and households spoken to with seagull-proof sacks delivered as well. Avian influenza is circulating in wild and seabirds in Kent. If you see a sick or dead bird, do not touch it. Report it to your district council. Keep a close eye on dogs in gardens and public spaces and stick to footpaths. There's more information on that at kent.gov.uk/avian flu. Maison Dew is still hosting open days and community restoration and historic dig events. Market Square progress is good, albeit very slow to complete. Any further local issues, please send in images or emails for us both to action as normal. Best wishes, Mark.
Councillor Richardson.
Market Square's on time. It's just the programme's been published. It's on time and under budget. So it should be, the grand opening's on August the 20th. But it should all be a little bit clearer now about the end of July. They're hoping they've got a lot of trees still to plant, and they're just they've been putting electrics in or reconnecting electrics to the mains over the last couple of days. So we are on time. We are on budget.
Sorry. Should have been on silent.
Yeah, they are on time and on
I sure
budget.
loud enough.
Sure. It's in the car.
I think you woke Patrick up.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't really.
The only other thing I can say is that DDC have just done a new indoor sports facility strategy they're doing, and so that will go out to consultation. But this is indoor sports, not outdoor sports, across the district.
Good.
Is there anything planned to help the businesses that are affected by the Market Square?
No.
Because they're struggling quite a bit there.
Yeah, my son's even struggled during the time, but they knew that when they were being worked outside, they've always had access to the shops, and it's the Londis and the supermarket down the side next to either side of the KFC. I've been in negotiations with them, and unfortunately there was nothing. And there's no grants, government grants or anything.
Right. Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Richardson?
Apologies for my phone.
You've got off right.
Good ringtone though.
Okay.
Chair, I've got to go on as well. Is that okay? I'll just stay until you go on. I think you go on to planning now, aren't you? and things?
Not quite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing else that
No. Well,
Brilliant, Chair. Thank you very much indeed.
thank you for your time.
No, my pleasure. Always enjoyable.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Right. Councillors, we'll go around ladies first tonight. Is there anything you want to bring up, Christian?
Sorry, Chair. Councillor Beanie's in hospital. That's why he didn't turn up and have a chance to watch us. He's pulled a slipped a disc. If that's okay.
Oh dear. Working too hard.
Right, that's what I thought.
She's come back to holiday. She's only back off
That's
holiday.
what I said, right? Because I asked him, he slipped a disc in hospital.
Thank you very much.
On Friday.
Not nice.
Christian?
Not really. I was wondering when we set the date, if we have an events committee meeting in September maybe, could we set the date for next year's phaetons?
Well, it's up to you.
So I've got told by Mary that the, what's it called, Vintage Fair?
Yes.
They're pulled out.
That's right.
They would have come on in August, and they're pulled out again, like they did at the fete a bit. So I'm a bit annoyed with them, to be honest. I'm not really that happy. It would have been a nice little activity for the children in August.
Yeah.
But, yes.
Reason they pulled out is?
They have an elderly relative that they have to care for, and it's a bit overwhelming.
That's right, I saw that.
To be honest, I can relate to that even.
Yes.
It happens.
Well, can I suggest that what you do is to perhaps give some thought to a meeting
Yeah, in September.
in September
It
sometime?
would- it
Early
just-
September?
I would like to do like a little time schedule this time to do
Yeah.
what we do when, and then
Sure. Okay.
it's a little bit more.
If you send a date out to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Pauline?
I haven't got a date.
Tina?
I just want to talk about the phone box, but I'll wait for the.
Yeah.
Okay. Patrick?
Phone
We're
box.
all ears.
Nothing actually concrete to report, although I've been on holiday for nearly 3 weeks. But I have been in touch with the specialists who do it. I'm awaiting a price from them. My decorator's been on holiday and I should be able to get a hold of him tomorrow. And I've already found online people who supply the paint, window replacements, telephone notices and things like this. It's all readily available and not drastically expensive. I'll get hold of young Mr. Roberts tomorrow and see what he thinks about it and see if he can do it. I've heard nothing from anybody about any former contractor who was interested. So,
Okay.
Have you heard of anybody who solves the mystery whose books they sell or who puts the bookshelf?
no, I haven't. I don't
Mystery.
know. I don't know.
There's
No,
something.
Perhaps they only come out at night.
With a cloak on and funny looking teeth.
Yeah.
There have been some
That's probably why the box is red.
I mean, I love it, but
They have some local youth have been taking part in throwing them into the river, but otherwise not that many up to now. So, I suppose
I think,
that's expected.
if I may say so, that when the library, shall we call it, first appeared, my inclination was, well, who the devil's behind this? But on further thought, I think somebody's obviously quite keen to do this, and unless and until we started getting complaints of the type that Patrick's just mentioned.
Well, it's not a complaint, it was a remark.
Or-
I still think it's a good idea.
Or, there are sort of other complaints, or any complaints. I think we'll just let it run for the moment.
Yeah, the nursing home are putting books in there.
I know, but
I don't know who else.
I still think it's worth trying to reach out, maybe put something in the rival, saying, who are you?
I did put it on Facebook.
Yeah, nothing came up. Nobody said anything.
Invite them to perhaps become a parish councillor.
Well,
We'll certainly invite them.
Showing the
Keep
initiative.
running the thing.
picking up on that point, I had a reminder today from the editor of Rival, who has moved again.
Helen has, yes, and she's also broken her ankle.
Yes, that's right, in Cumbria or something. But I had an email from her today. She's moved for the umpteenth time. She's probably quite a good customer for sort of the legal profession, I should think. But anyway, she's now landed in River Street, just pretty much opposite where Roger lives.
Oh, down there.
And anyway, Helen reminded me about the notes for the rival that I studiously put together, and so I could drop a line about that in there. We don't know who you are, but or something like that,
It is nice to see local people taking initiatives.
Yeah, I still think that it might have been better if they
had
had
it
come to us first of all and said, may we do this with your cooperation or your approval?
Totally agree, and we could have enhanced it in some way. as
Well,
yes,
that's-
Well, we still could.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if I do make a note about it, it won't be a sort of a critical note or anything like that. It'll be a sort of a welcoming note. Is that
Yes.
everybody happy with that?
Well, it should be, but this is what I wanted to talk about. Does it raise the question as to whether the parish council are as visible and accessible as they should be? So I know that we put things in the rival, there's things on Facebook. Maybe there's something else, something more we can do. How about a suggestion box in the telephone box? Or it's just something, I'm not having a go and saying that the parish council have done anything wrong in the past, but maybe there's more that we could do to reach out to all the villagers and say, hello, we are here. We're not the youngest people in the village. Could have, apart from Christiane, but we could have more input from the youth. And
Maybe try it.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just an idea, and I thought with the phone box, somebody has thought to make it into a library, which I think is a really good thing. I know it's been done before. It's not that innovative, but it's been done before in other places and worked successfully.
Whitfield.
Maybe there are people that are out there that might want to come and join us. Maybe there are different ways for us to put ourselves out there to say, what's your problems? Come and talk to us. Come to the meetings.
we can have a little.
I'm sure it's all been done before, but it's just not put in my
I think no, it's a good idea, but I don't think it has been done before. We've obviously appealed on the rival on the website.
When we went on Zoom.
Yes.
We had a lot.
But we've never done as you said, but as the chairman's just mentioned, yes, we had sometimes many people watching nobody came forward, and that's not making it right or wrong. So no, I mean I would suggest yes. Could you organise a suggestion box to go in there, and let's give it a whirl.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. We've got very little to lose and everything to gain. If we get one sensible suggestion, it's paid for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In every rival set of notes that I do, there's always a sort of standard thing at the end of it. You know, if you've got a problem, come along to one of our meetings.
I read that, but then not everybody reads the rival. So
No.
I was just thinking,
Yeah.
perhaps maybe we'll get the bits.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
I'm
no,
talking rubbish
Mm.
and nothing will come of it.
We
I was just thinking of a new
we
way to
have
reach
to
out
we
to
have
people.
to try. We have to try.
Yeah.
It's a good idea, and I certainly would support it.
So
and
I'll put a supportive note in there, an encouraging note.
I think you always are.
What I think what each of you can do is that when we go out in our clubs of private things that each of us do, to see if you spot anybody who might be interested there.
Yeah.
I mean, I started to, when I organised the fete, I started to come here at the Chit Chat on a Friday, because I have a day off then. And I said, anybody want to talk about a stool or has a problem? I sit here from 12 till have my lunch. And there was a few people who came and said, oh, I haven't filled out my form yet. And I just had a couple of forms there. So it's like a little, Parish Council's question time or something, or like a mini chat, informal. And each of us could do that really, where we are anyway going out anywhere.
I've asked quite a few.
Yeah. Well,
no, but I think the idea of suggestion
Good try.
box makes a lot of sense.
Which can be anonymous. People don't have to.
Oh,
Sometimes people like to complain, and
Well, we get some anonymous
Oh,
ones.
don't worry about that.
It won't. I'm not sure. You know, some would be good, some would be bad, but I just thought it was maybe another way of like reaching
Okay.
out.
Yeah, no, I
are
think
we stopping when the first person puts the
Give it a go.
pool back in there, yeah?
Give it a go.
Yes.
Well, we'll try and make it like a quite a thin sort of vegetable.
yeah,
Okay.
but
with
no,
the
seriously,
logo.
would you
A
mind
lot, yeah.
organising that?
Yes, yeah.
You would mind?
I know I won't mind.
No, it's just
No, I'm
nice.
happy to do it.
Yeah.
But obviously, it'll have to be attached.
Yes.
And
Oh,
then we have to.
you
do
get it.
what's-
we'll get John Hill to attach it, and if we've got to put a note on the front,
Yeah.
I'm certain between Andrew.
And try and make it
yes.
as
Yes.
difficult
Yeah.
as possible.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, just on the phone box, say to Patrick that we did originally. We were looking at the phone box, and I pursued the avenue of having a professional company in who would take it away. They would have brought it back X number of months later, but it was going to cost us over £5,000. And it was then said no, we'll do it ourselves, and that's where the handyman came in, and that's really, if you like.
I'm only getting a means of comparison. I'm hoping my contractor will be interested in it and could give us a price. I could guide him as to where to get all the bits and pieces he needs. I'm just interested. Did we tell them we didn't need the innards when we got the price?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah,
told
I
them we
can-
just
I
wanted the outside.
We've got that. You've got that,
Oh,
Andrew.
they do that when you adopt a box. They automatically take
Take
all
all
the
the gear
gear.
out.
Yes.
I think we have the option of having the electricity left in there.
Correct,
So that's
yes.
still there.
Yes.
Exactly, which we don't
Yep.
really need.
But we've got full costings on that, and unfortunately,
Okay.
it was thousands of pounds. Yes. And that's
Right.
why. We,
So
Yep.
you're happy with that, Tina?
Yes, I am.
So, Patrick, is there anything else?
Yes, there is. Following on from remarks made earlier, could we look possibly at co-opting a youth representative for this parish council, if we can find somebody suitable?
I honestly don't think that that's ever going to work. I'll tell you for why. Because of the meetings that I've been to over many years at county level, it seems to me that the message that sort of comes through is that the parish councils in this county and probably elsewhere as well are primarily made up of, almost exclusively made up of people of, shall we say,
Mature
a
age.
certain age. People who are have got the time. People who've got the time, who've lived there, and they want to put something back in. Now, we've only had one exception to that, and that was when we had somebody, Nick.
He was going to university or something, wasn't he? But
No. Nick, what's he called? Nicholas.
oh, yes,
And
Rob
he
Nicholas.
was Rob,
yes.
Rob
Yes.
Nicholas, that's right.
He was
And-
a younger member, but
Yes.
we did have,
But the
you
tro-
did have Clive. Remember, you had somebody that showed an enormous amount of
Yeah.
interest. He was a young person, he was going off to uni or something, and then it disappeared. Yeah, but
Disappeared.
that was a young person that was really
The trouble
interested.
is,
Yeah.
the trouble is, I mean, there might be an exception, but this seems to be my recollection of the meetings when they were talking about at the county level of this sort of thing. But younger people have got so many different things that they want to do, and primarily it seems to fall on people who've lived here for quite some time, and they've now retired or retiring, and they've got some time and they want to put something. That's where the membership is drawn from. But I mean, I'm not adverse to this idea.
No,
Well,
I mean,
I
You
have,
remember five years ago we had this approach of creating a little youth council within the parish council to help with events mainly, because we thought they have creative ideas, they can organise well, and there was no interest. I mean, I'm happy to give it another shot there.
I'm in contact with the Interact Club at Dover Grammar School for Girls. It is possible that there could be somebody there who might be interested who lives in River.
Well,
There's about 30 people in the Interact Club there. You know,
By
we
all
could just ask
means.
at a meeting. You know.
by all means, I mean, if you'd like to pursue it, I mean, you do it with the blessing of this parish council.
Right, I'll do that. I'll invite myself to the next meeting of the Interact Club and
Yeah,
have a
and
word.
see.
Well,
But
it would be nice to have it not just from a grammar school.
but it would be nice.
Well, I mean,
yeah, but we could start.
Maybe a start.
We could
Yeah,
start.
I mean,
But
It's
yes.
always
Yeah.
I don't see what you have
Yeah,
against grammar
it's
schools. I was
another
educated.
But please be, yeah, please don't be, please be prepared, you know, in the way that I've just tried to
They are very
yes, of
busy
course.
nowadays.
elaborate. Because, you know, it doesn't really sort of, we've tried in different ways and to make it work. But I think this is where, you know, this sort of generation, if you like, is where the most likely we're going to get support for.
I don't dispute this. I just wonder if it's worth just a little digging.
Well,
See.
by
Which
all
I'm
means,
happy to
as
do.
the chairman said, do it.
Yep.
See what feedback we get, and okay, if there's 2 or 3 of them, great, and if we can mix them with other people,
Find
even
something
better.
for them to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would be good.
Yeah.
It would be good.
Right,
Fine.
thank
It
you.
would be nice to have some younger blood. I won't say young blood because I'll upset someone sitting opposite me.
I'm really old.
Oh, no you're not.
Right. Okay, Patrick.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Feel old.
Yeah, I just distributed this to you. I don't want to take up too much of your time on it, but it's really a work in progress on looking at the data. And the objective is that by September I will have the full report. And where I'm trying to get to is that we now create an informal confederation. Sorry, yeah, I'll pass this down, yeah. An informal confederation, not only with the EA, but with other stakeholders who take an interest in chalk streams. And they're predominantly the ones I mentioned here. I just mentioned them, the Wild Trout Trust, the South East Rivers Trust, and the CABA, which is a government initiative for chalk streams. Now, these are pressure groups and lobbying groups. They don't have any power in their own right, and everything they do has to be approved by the EA. But I'm already making very positive contact there, and the CABA have a couple of superb reports because although they're a charitable organisation, they have the access to some of the best ecologists in the country through various universities. And there was one report there which I think will be dynamite because I'll be able to rank the Dow in a very different way. I'll be able to show you the key aspect to a chalk stream is the water that goes into the river, which is a natural process, which is rain, and that's called charging the river, and what comes out through abstraction. And they've come up with a very clever calculation to balance those and index them. So we'll be able to see at maybe 40 southeastern chalk streams or so where we rank in that process of how much water is being taken out, balanced against annual rainfall. But that'll all be revealed in the report, but that was a very, very positive contact. I've been a member of the Wild Trout Trust for 10 years and they're friends, so they give me the heads up on things. The most important thing was approaching affinity water, and that was difficult in itself, actually, even to find out the person to write a letter to. So what I decided to do was say, well, I'm not expected to get a reply, and I haven't done as of today, so I've done a Freedom of Information Act through the Environment Agency to tell me how much water they're taking out of our river, what licences they have, and also, during periods of drought that we might well go into this summer, they are allowed to get a special licence to extract even more water. And I know damn well there are 3 boreholes at the top of the water towards the headwaters where they do that abstraction. So I want on paper over the last 10 years how often they do that. Okay. Now, meetings with the EA. I have made progress with a new contact because the previous contact's now retired. And I hope to have a meeting with them very shortly. There's a new young lady called Chloe there, who seems to be very positive because she's actually commented on one of my posts, you know, network posts, internet posts on ecology and climate change. Yeah. So I think there might be a good relationship coming up there, hopefully. But she hasn't responded to the meeting. I had a fantastic Zoom meeting with the South East Rivers Trust that used to be responsible for the River Wandle, an urban chalk stream in London, South London. In fact, I live by the side. Yeah, I still live by the side of it in London, so I know that well. And he was a fantastic guy, and he said he will help me try and interpret the data because I'm going to be getting a lot of spreadsheet and Excel data. What they're going to give me affinity water, they won't make it in any way easy to access. You know, they'll make me work my living on that, but we can do that. Andrew's provided me with all the new contacts with Dover, DDC and EA, which I'm pursuing. I'm not pursuing the Dover contacts at the moment because I feel that the EA is a priority and I don't want to take on too much before September when I want to give you something more concrete on paper of how we are going to go forward. And I hope to, I will, this is a promise, I will actually have the report ready for the 16th of September. And if there is time on the agenda, I'd like to just do a quick management summary of it, the key findings, and then you can take the documents away with all the sources. One thing I have got from the Wild Trout Trust, I now can go online and looking at the monitoring station at Crabble Mill and look at the flow levels on the Dow. It's a bit like watching paint dry, frankly. It's not the most exciting thing you do to look at the 5-day trend of the flow up there. And also, in isolation, it doesn't tell you anything. This is like sort of a mathematical equation where there are many other dimensions you've got to push together to get the whole picture. So I'm pretty confident now. I've got all the data requests in and I will get the data I need for us to be able to have a conversation with EA in a way which is more informed and push them harder. Okay, so that's where I'm at the moment.
Well, yeah. You've done very well in a very short space of time and I compliment you.
Well, it is my passion. I sit by that river every morning, so
yeah. Okay, anybody got any comments on that?
If just
I'm waiting now.
obviously when we get this information,
Yes.
are we able with this information to influence the amount of water that is or is not taken? We can't.
No.
No.
I think what it is predominantly an awareness of what's happening. Quite frankly, we're not going to be able to change the Environment Agency or Affinity Waters policy. It's in fact the EA that changes Affinity Water's policy. And when I talk about Affinity Water, they're responsible for our freshwater supplies, where Southern Water are responsible for wastewater.
Yeah.
And they're the guys that we know are dumping sewage in the sea. But also on the Dow, there are 3 outlets from minor pumping stations that do have storm overflows. And I have the data for what's going into the river, lower down at Mason-Dur and Buckland. And it doesn't look too bad, but of course, you never want any of that because that's pushing phosphates and nitrogen into the river, which is extremely bad. It kills the weed. It's not good for the invertebrates that feed the fish. But that doesn't seem to be a major problem at the moment. And it's not the major thing I'm focusing on. It's really abstraction and having that better relationship and dialogue with the EA.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we
Okay.
look forward to
Yeah.
hearing from you
Yeah.
in future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nick?
No, I have nothing, Mr Chairman.
Right. That case then, item 6, no questions from the public?
No, I actually did have one. Did last month's meeting not get televised? Was it published in the
It's
end?
been
or-
published.
It has been. That's it's all right. No.
Okay. 7, planning. Polly?
We have one planning application, which I can't see a problem with. The only person that might have a problem is the person sitting on my left, because it's next door to her. But I can't see any, it's just atop the tree, so I can't see a problem there at all.
Plus it needs doing because otherwise I might fall my car.
I might definitely is doing that. There's no objections against it anyway, so
Okay.
no comments on
No
that.
comment?
No. And there's just the ones they passed.
Plus
And
it's the thing with this planning application at Hazeldown, you see a theme here, yeah? Because one of the neighbours starts it, and then they all look, and a tree surgeon comes, and then they ask them for a quote, and then the next one. So there's that, and then technically I should be next. And
But if you all get together, it might be a bit cheaper.
2 went together with the quote, it's just they had 2 different applications slightly. But there is an extra.
Yeah, I mean, these are all trees
I
around it, so.
to sell a kidney first.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 decisions
Yes,
that
two
have been
decisions
made
both
on
all that
trees,
tree.
and one of them also
So obviously it's
in
tree
the same
type.
area.
Well,
Yeah.
one is the same street, isn't it?
You've got Hazel down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problems at all, they were passed obviously by the
Oops,
council.
actually, someone's done it there.
The thing that I,
Done it already.
if I may, the thing that I was quite interested in was on the minutes of the last meeting. I did notice there was a standout item, wasn't it, that the application on the Kersney Station approach
Was not granted, no.
was refused.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, you know, it's just a passing comment. It does seem to me, you know, that
I think
we've
they'll come
had-
back.
almost certainly, but it does seem to me that over the last sort of year, maybe a little longer, that if there are some sort of slightly dubious applications that we've considered, and we sort of comment on them, they all seem to, I mean, you can probably think of
There's a
sort
lot
of several,
against that one.
they all go through.
Yeah.
Even if they're sort of alterations or extensions, they all go through. But that particular one there, it always looked to me to be a bridge too far. And this was 2 blocks of flats.
It's a bit like that one at Provo Lane, at the top of Provo Lane, that funny one.
The
That's right.
access to come out on that bend was just
It's
impossible.
bad enough there.
It's impossible.
Well, anyway, that one was refused, but I agree with you.
It'll come
It's
back.
going to come back.
Yeah.
Right, Andrew, item 8, financial matters.
Okay, many different items on this.
Right.
I think you've all got a copy somewhere in front of you. It says Section 1 Annual Governance Statement. This is part of the annual return every year. I'll run through it, but on the back there is also a kind of summary of what I've been going through. So this is the basically our testifying that we have a sound system of internal controls, etc. Now there have been difficulties that I have encountered this year in a perfect year, you say yes to all of the items, but there are 2 items which I've been unable to. So the first item, we've put in place arrangements for effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of the accounting statements. Now the reason I've had to say no is because the accounting statements by regulations had to be approved by the 30th of June. So therefore the accounting statements have not been prepared in accordance with the accounts and audit regulations. So I've had to answer no to that one. Second, adequate system of internal controls. Well, we do have the recommended setup for our finances, which is that the clerk is not a signatory, but prepares payments, etc. And then there are 2 separate signatories from the Parish Council. There are some councils that I know of that do use the clerk as a signatory. Number 3, take all reasonable steps to assure ourselves that there are no matters of actual or potential non-compliance with laws. We get all our updates via KLC. We have access to their legal advisor, and the insurance policy also gives us free access to a legal advice line, email line, which I have contacted on a number of occasions. They are quite useful. Number 4, every year there has to be a legal opportunity for local electors to review the accounts, to look through them. It's a 30-day period which needs to be advertised as such on our website and on our notice boards. I've had to answer no to this one. Basically, the regulations are that the 30-day period has happened within the specified time, which is happening at the moment, but according to the regulations, the accounts have to be formally approved before the notice period. So that hasn't happened because I'm getting them approved now. So again, I've had to answer no to that one. And these will all have notes within the accounts, excuse me, within the annual accounts when they're submitted to explain the reasoning behind all this. All the others are okay. Risk assessments, etc., which we do carry out when required. Adequate and effective system of internal audit of the accounting records. All our accounts go for an internal audit by retired accountants who checks my figures, make sure they're correct. Appropriate matters raised in reports to internal and external audit, we do that. And considered any litigation liabilities, commitments, etc. Well, our insurance policy covers all items of financial liabilities, including personal liabilities of the councillors. So I think one thing I should do really is circulate the schedule of the insurance, because I believe Patrick questioned that at the last meeting, but if I circulate the insurance schedule to everyone, then you can see what is covered. So that is the annual government statement, which Chairman and myself will sign. If you're all happy...
Is everybody happy? Do we have a proposal for this?
Yes, please.
Sorry, could I know if obviously we've got 2 no's here. We're going to have notes that explain why they're no's.
Yep.
And we obviously haven't in the last year then given electors the ability to nobody's asked, as I understand it anyway, but
they have been given the opportunity,
right.
but it's not been in the correct order.
Right.
That should have happened after the approval of the accounts.
Right.
We're currently within the 30-day period.
Okay, so it's
but we haven't approved the
the
accounts.
2
so
no's aren't going to give us a problem.
It's a technical time time problem.
Yep.
So it's a technical issue rather than something that's got serious.
Good.
Can I have a proposer? Pauline, seconder? Seconder?
Yeah.
Tina? Everybody in favour? Right. Shall I sign your copy now?
Yes, you can do that. Just the top line there.
Just let you room.
Okay, second one then is the actual annual accounts themselves. Now, I did present a draft of these to the AGM in May, but since then, if you recall, the last year I was having various little bits of difficulty with little balances here and there going wrong. So I went through it all line by line, and my internal auditor went through it all, and he agreed with what I had found. There were a couple of errors in the accounts, which once everything was put straight, everything balanced perfectly. But that does mean that we've got a slightly different starting balance for the year than what we have. So I'll go on to that in item, whatever that is, C. So apart from a difference of about £60, as it was presented in May, then all of the accounts are the same. So as you see, what the auditors require is not much in the way of detail. What they require is what our precept is, what our other receipts were, and then they just want a breakdown of staff costs and all other payments, and then a balance carried forward. And then obviously the balance of cash and investments. We don't have any investments, but the balance of the cash is effectively the same as the balance carried forward. And also I've updated the asset register, which will also be submitted as part of the annual return. Question 11 down at the end, not applicable. We don't have any trust funds, etc. So, as I say, apart from £60, slight difference, the figures are the same as those presented at the meeting in May. Are there any queries that I've got, Hunter? From that?
You found it, that was the main thing.
Yes, that was the main thing, and my auditor agreed with me, so that was nice.
So I can sign these.
So
If everybody's happy, can we have a proposal again? Nick? Seconder? Patrick? All in favour? There.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll email you all a full copy of the annual return when it's gone through as a PDF.
Yes.
Whether you want it or not. But then you've got a copy of it for your information. I won't be asking questions.
Well, you'll get a file.
So next C is financial reports for June 2022, and then I'll follow on with that with a provisional idea of the fate accounts. So as I say, the starting balance, the balance carried forward at 31st of the 3rd 2022 has changed slightly from the report that I provided you last month. Previously it was £52,324.53, £52,384.78, so £60 and a few pence more. So costs for the parish costs for the month of June, handyman costs and fate expenses. We pay our annual subscription for KALC. Annual subs coming in. I have a subscription for Office 365. I also updated the annual subscription for Zoom, although we're not really using it very much. I carried it on, so perhaps next year we might like to look at whether we want to carry that on or not. And bank charges from the HSBC account, and obviously charges coming in from the new Unity account. And then recreation, groundworks, cleaning, so I shouldn't say locking, we don't lock anymore. Clearance of waste, water and wastewater, electricity costs, and refuse collection, usual sort of items. And I think your PDF copy, which I sent round, does also include the bank statements for verification of the balances.
Yeah.
Obviously it's 3 accounts now, not 2. We have 2 HSBC accounts plus the new Unity current account, so all 3 of them together. More news on that on item E, but I'll just run through the provisional accounts for the fate, calling them provisional because I haven't got a written report. It's left to be a verbal report, I'm afraid. I'll probably have to go backwards and forwards with Christiane and Mary on this a little bit just to sort of verify a few things. Bottom line is at the moment, obviously the fate was an expensive event. We had extra things. It almost washed its face. We were at £12 or so minus, but I have got a little bit of money still to come in. I'll have to verify this, but I think there are still 3 banner sponsors still to come up.
I still have something on the mill. Like a
Oh,
stove. I'm meant to.
I'll have to
Check.
check.
The fibre.
I think I'm still due money for the bar sales. I'll have to speak to Mary about that. I don't know whether she was liaising with them, and also money from the burger stall. So
The bar, is that the rugby club?
yes, yeah. So once we've got those in, we will be in a little bit of a profit. Roughly speaking, at the moment,
I wasn't actually expecting.
the takings were £2,771. Expenditure of £2,784. So we've got a little bit of money, possibly 150 plus whatever the bar and the burger still want to give us. So it's possibly going to be 200 or 300 on the plus side. Looking at the individual profits, some of them were a little bit difficult because obviously there's an awful lot going on that day. I think some of the monies might have got mixed up. But we've got some of the stalls that we ran, we had figures for. I'm not sure about the coconut shy, to be honest. I'm not sure what that made. Children's tombola profited by £130, bottle tombola £145, the PIM store made £179. This is net after costs. The football game, I think, was £171.
That's amazing. Nobody knew what to do with it.
I can't verify that because I think the ladies had gone by the time I got the money
They were really
in,
stressed.
Yes.
and there was just a load of money in a pot, so I don't know whether they've got extra change in or I don't know. So it's. And the programme sales stroke raffle, I suppose, because the raffle was effectively programme sales. Net profit was £416 after costs, so that was our best.
So that's only selling about 1,000 programmes.
Yeah, 1,000 programmes, so we had £500. Again, I was being handed clumpfuls of money every now and again.
Yeah.
I think some people threw a bit more into the pot.
How many programmes did we have?
We had 1,000.
Oh, it was 1,000. I thought it was more than that.
So technically,
That's right. That's what I was.
so 500 quid for 1,000. We had the cost of the printing, and then adding into it what are they? Hollis Motors did give us sponsorship. One of the items they sponsored was the programme, so I kind of tried to break down what they gave us between the pitch, the banner and the programme, so I came up in the end with, say, £416 net profit for that. I'm not sure whether we'd sell more programmes. They don't, it's litho printing, so once you've got 1,000 it doesn't cost much to run on.
We did run out, but
That was
quite late on though.
it was after lunch.
Yes. Yep. And obviously the fireworks were how much?
They were...
1,500 to reduce noise 400.
Yeah.
They were 12.50 plus VAT. So we've got some VAT to come back on some of the costs. So 12.50 without VAT.
Yeah, more likely without the fireworks, and it was a special do, we'd have made £1,500, which is good. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, don't beat yourself up. I know what you're like. No, I know what you do, but the fireworks were a one-off.
No, I
They were
actually
special.
quite chuffed it made plus, actually.
Yes, yeah.
I was amazed, to be honest.
I didn't expect.
No,
I
but
thought it was a massive loss.
no, but we normally end up with
I know,
£1,500 or so you're spot on.
But I mean, on the day, I mean, considering from my point of view, on the day, considering the weather forecasts for the weekend in the week before, and I can remember Christiane contacting me and sort of getting very concerned about Monday or Tuesday, and I think my comment was something like I wouldn't get excited about this until at least Friday. And although we had no sunshine, but we had loads of people, and it was dry and it wasn't windy, so I'd settle for that. And by general sort of consensus, I think that the turnout there was probably over 3,000 people.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And you know, I think we should be very pleased with it.
Yes. Yeah.
Fireworks did go down though, yeah, I know there was
I mean, up very well.
a couple of complaints.
Did we send the apology letters?
Yes.
Yeah, we certainly sent John Hill to sort the dirty roof out, so that was sorted,
yeah.
yes, yes.
And have we had any response from our apology? Nobody's acknowledged that we apologise.
No.
No, I haven't seen anything, no.
Well, I think it was
I think just 3 letters of complaint was very good because they were now.
But I think all things taken into consideration, I mean, it was earlier in the year when it was decided that due to our sort of limited resources, that we could not put on sort of 2 events on consecutive months. And so the idea of amalgamating the 2, I think, was what we decided to do, and I think it was the right decision.
Absolutely.
And I think we should be very pleased with that. Very pleased.
Yes.
Well done to all concerned.
Yes.
So anyway, presumably, Andy, by the September meeting, you should be able to tie all these loose ends up and give us a rounded up figure.
Christian, I was going to say, if you have a problem with the rugby club, or Mary does, let me know, and I will speak to them. Now I know them extremely well, and I'll be most annoyed
I
if they
got
don't.
Mary a message from you.
Okay.
Yeah, but if there's a
Maybe she
problem,
knows
let me know.
something that I don't know.
I think she dealt with catering and that, so she may well have the person who she's
Yes.
dealt with.
Yeah,
so that-
yeah, but if we do have a problem, tell me, and I can and will sort them.
Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Really happy.
Should we go on to item D?
D is this is the
We've got.
broken items in the Crabble Lane play area.
Well, I thought so, correct. Robin rang me, so I went over, because he said, oh, you do realise that we've got items that we wanted to repair, we didn't repair because we couldn't afford it. So I went over, and actually what I found is in the new play area, the double hanging swinger, sounds good, sounds like an old person, swinger, yes, sorry, the arms and the handles are broken. They're gone, so you've basically got the kids, one gets on one gets another, and they run around and turn around. Now, we had in October of last year a quotation for £1,100 plus to replace those, and we didn't apparently let Mary replace them. I've spoken to Safe Play, I've spoken to Emma Gillam at Safe Play, and have said, right, can you get me an up-to-date price for replacing that? This is 6 months old, but we need those replacing. They've been out of action now for 8 or 9 months. And there's also, Robin had taped up another piece of equipment, and again I've asked Emma just to check because there was a clatterboard repair, but I think that was the old play area, and I think that's been done.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
everything that needs doing is in the new play area. But what I want to do, we're not meeting till September, I'm chasing Emma to get a quote on this, is to say to her, go ahead, order it and fit it. It's going to cost us £1,100–1,200 now. It's more expensive, but that bit of equipment, and my fault, it's been not working for over 8 months. So yes, I'd like to ask, you know, if you're happy that when I get the quote, I instruct him to go ahead and to repair that.
I think it would be a good idea, in view of the sum of money involved, if you contacted Andy and just pushed this round for comments.
Yep. Well, as soon as I get the up-to-date quote,
please.
and I'll get it and I'll go out that day to Andrew, and then you can send it round. But basically, I didn't realise there's one other piece of equipment there that Robin that day had put tape on, so I've inspected that.
That wobble plan.
Yes. So I've got that in hand, but
Okay.
unfortunately it is going to cost us £1,000–1,200, but we need to do it, and
Sure.
I'll keep you all advised on that.
Okay.
So
Do we want to have a proposal to go ahead with that, seeing as
Well, let's.
subject to?
Well, I think it would be better once we got the quotation if you pushed this round and just asked everybody to signify agreement to it. I think that would be the best.
yeah, I don't know. I know when we suggested that before, you said we shouldn't do that.
Technically, you shouldn't.
Yeah, no, I know you just said that, so I listened to
I
you.
mean,
Yes.
I mean, if we put a maximum budget on there, I mean, it's not going to be an enormous amount more, presumably. It's not going to be £4,000.
No.
I mean, if we set up to a certain budget, proof £1,500.
Well, if you say 1,500, then we're more than covered, and that more likely will cover the cost of that other one as well. So yes,
And then
yes,
in any case, I'll send the.
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
Yep.
You'll propose that?
yes. I'm proposing it now.
Seconder?
Yes.
Christiane? All in favour? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're
Thank you,
happy
Mr.
with
Chairman.
that, Andy? That's fine with me.
And the one thing I'm going to ask John Hill to do, just on the recreation ground, there are 2 or 3 places in the park where the asphalt is going. I want to get John just to go round. We're not going to lay that because that would be a massive job, and it doesn't actually need it, but to repatch some of the areas that he's patched before. So
That rubber mulch.
no, this is the asphalt path.
All right.
Oh,
Yes,
cool.
yeah, and the rubber mulch is good in the old play area. The floor there is good, but it's the path that meanders around the wreck in a couple of places. It's worn. If someone falls over, we've got a problem. So I'll just get John for the next meeting to submit a price for what he's got to do there.
Good. E?
Right, update on the banking situation. So as I said, the new Unity current account is open. I'm having some problems with HSBC. Basically, even though they've had account closure forms submitted, this is for the deposit account because it's happening in 2 phases. Because there's too much money in there, they won't accept the account closure form. They want verbal confirmation.
Isn't that weird? You thought the other way around.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, seeing as I can't contact them because you have to have telephone banking PIN numbers to get through to anybody, and of course they wouldn't talk to me because I'm not a signatory, my suggestion to the Parish Council is that, having already said it's bad practice to have your clerk as a signatory, that I actually, for the old HSBC account, that I go on as a temporary signatory with the express purpose of closing down the account, and then obviously once it's closed down, then I'm no longer a signatory. Because I think I can't see any other way of doing
No.
it.
Yeah, the existing signatories don't have that.
Well, but then I've got to hand it on.
Yeah, no, I'm
to
just
someone
saying
to talk
you.
to, and it then kind of goes backwards and forwards
Yeah.
and this sort of thing.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, I mean,
Because I
I'm
think,
not a signatory, who's a signatory?
well, the signatories are chairman, and it's still Mary A. Jackson and Roger Ballman.
Oh, we certainly need to sort that double sharp, you said,
Well,
don't
this
we, God?
I'm
I'm
trying-
Yeah, no,
the new
it's-
one, don't I?
You're on the new one, yeah.
I'm on the new one.
We're fine for the new one, that's all fine.
Yeah.
But we don't have a lot of money in there, we've only got a couple of thousand
There's
pounds.
zero money in there.
Is that the best way to do it? That's the best way to do
Who
it.
is the only way we can do it, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, or it would mean you doing it?
Well, I think
As a
even,
signatory, no, that's why I was asking that question.
I think even then we'd need to set up telephone banking because you can't
Oh,
get
you-
through.
yes.
Of course, you phone it in,
You
you've
haven't got
put your,
tele, yes, yeah.
put your pin, whatever pin number in, and
Yes.
you can't
Yeah.
get.
Whatever works.
Oh no, by the way, I have been into branch, and which is a waste of time. Branches can't do anything. They don't know anything. They can't do anything.
They should be able to shut it down.
They can't. They had to read the letter to find out what it was all about.
Oh, this is an
I
interest
just
business.
think
HSBC.
of a fire in it and forget it.
The way they
So,
transfer
so
any money.
what's the
Mhm.
tell us for blind people, you need a second signature to close it.
No, they
No.
need verbal confirmation. So they want me
Online
to
banking, but.
on basically or telephone banking, but that would have to come from a signatory. But of course, we don't have telephone banking.
So we're happy with Andrew's suggestion to temporarily.
Well, if it, yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Tom.
just to me, I mean, I find
Just-
it,
It seems like the quickest way. Of
Yeah,
doing it.
well,
the
it's the quickest way,
specific.
but I can't believe that they can expect us to do it via telebanking if we don't have it. Mr. Chairman, actually, I mean, it's the bank being stupid, but if it's the only way we can do it,
It seems to be-
Specifically for the purpose of closing the account down.
could I ask Andrew, could I have your passport? It's no, sorry, Andrew.
Actually, I don't have a passport, so
Yeah, oh, that's good.
I can't.
No,
I
it's-
can't send you a
it's-
postcard from
yeah.
South America.
I'll be there with you.
Okay,
Is that so?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, sorry.
and F?
Okay, River Preschool. They got in touch with me. I had received the confirmation from KCC of the thing going of the invoice.
Yes.
So I paid the money, but since that time, River Preschool have had a change of heart. They're not going to do the CIO changeover. There are only 3 members of the committee at the moment, and the lady who I was speaking to is, I think her child is leaving, so she's going to be leaving the committee at the end of
We've been advertising
pretty
for 2
soon.
months.
So what they have said, they have actually incurred a little bit of costs, but they said that's their problem, not ours, and they are going to return the money to us.
Oh.
But they have asked that would we be prepared to leave the offer of a grant open for a future committee should they wish to go ahead with
For that same transfer,
same
yes,
purpose,
I mean,
same purpose, yeah.
I don't think, as long as they return the money to us now, then we can give it to them if they decide to alter the status in the future. My worry is,
The thing I find rather strange, though, unless I'm very much mistaken, is that I thought the whole idea of doing this would encourage an avalanche of new committee members.
yes, and that's as I understood
That's
it.
what they said.
Yes.
But there are a couple of one of the good news is that they are full up from September, so that's a good thing. But one of the difficulties was that they have been asking parents about what attracted them to put their children at River Preschool, and 90% of them said that it is the outstanding Ofsted rating that they have. But if they transfer to a CIO, they lose the rating. They can't transfer the Ofsted
Yes.
rating. So they would have to wait until such time as they could be re-inspected before they would have
And they
before
lose
they have a rating.
the children that have just come
Yeah.
and moved them on.
And so obviously that's a difficulty for them. So
They're in
it may be.
Yes, yeah,
It may be in the future.
they may want to.
They may want to, or they may decide they can't.
So
It's,
who's our principal contact these days?
a lady called Georgie Thomas.
There've been quite a few, haven't there?
There have been 2 basically.
Well,
They have to move
I
when the children
messaged
leave,
with
don't they?
Sarah Wilder
everybody happy with those proposals?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think that sounds
All right.
fair.
Yeah, go ahead and do it, Andy.
Okay.
Right, almost there. Any other general correspondence?
I have one rather unusual one.
Worrying.
A local gentleman has contacted me. He's asking permission to do metal detecting in the recreation ground. So this is a new hobby of mine, and I have a licence to do so. I have respect for them and also leave an area how I found
Can
it.
find a lot of keys.
Yes.
I tried that because
What was
I've only
on
actually lost the wedding ring around the swings once, and I used a
Mm.
very cheap metal detector I own and didn't find it. Maybe you couldn't find it. It's a platinum wedding ring that somebody lost a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
But I mean,
So is,
he will be digging, or
Who's
they, because you open it to one, then it will be known that we are allowing metal detecting on there, and you can end up with 20 holes dug of a weekend,
Yeah.
they'll be
Yeah.
filled.
Then we'll get the unofficial ones.
Yes,
are the,
so,
That's the risk, isn't it?
yeah.
what is the legality of something that's found? Do they?
It's supposed to be treasure trove, isn't it?
I should have mentioned
What
it.
does that
I
mean?
got off with it.
Depends on,
It's supposed to be
depends on the
Well,
value.
indeed, there are implications. I mean, it's our land, so technically,
Yeah,
Towers.
but
They're not.
I think,
I'm not keen on it.
well, I think if you're not careful, you could end up with 10, 15 people in there for a number of weeks going right the way over it, just to make certain there's nothing there.
And you
Yeah.
might want to do it when the football's in there.
Yeah.
Well, you will have a problem
Yes.
if we've got it being cut and it's being played on and they then start digging it up. Yes.
From my point of view, I think we should politely decline.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm having digging it out.
I agree.
The other great craze is magnet fishing in rivers. On the Royal Military Canal, all the bridges have got signs saying canal prohibited.
Magnet.
Yes, well, it's
Yeah.
basically a huge magnet on a chain on a rope, and you throw it in, and like metal detector, it picks up stuff.
Oh, right.
Oh,
It's not fish it picks up now.
No, I thought, God, what's this?
Electric eel.
Actually, no, I mean, now you say it, yeah, makes sense.
yeah. Is everybody
Yeah.
happy
Yes.
with that?
I think so,
Politely,
unfortunately, yes.
politely decline, Andy.
Yeah.
Right, any other items for information? Any AOB?
No,
No.
No.
Meeting closed. Not
there we
bad.
are. No, very good, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed. And have a happy recess.